Jareth walked through the dense, oppressive jungle undergrowth, the air heavy with an eerie stillness. Sweat poured down his face, mingling with the dirt and grime that clung to his skin. The sun beat down mercilessly, its scorching rays penetrating through the thick canopy above. He had been trekking through this unforgiving wilderness for what felt like an eternity, driven by the tantalizing whispers of a hidden temple rumored to be brimming with unimaginable riches. Every step he took seemed to sink him deeper into the heart of darkness, the humidity making his clothes cling to his body like a second skin. The jungle seemed to conspire against him, with thick vines and twisted roots obstructing his path at every turn. It was as if the very vegetation was alive, reaching out with gnarled fingers to grab at him, to ensnare him within its suffocating embrace. Days turned into nights, and nights bled into days as Jareth pressed on, his determination unwavering. His body ached, his muscles screamed in protest, but he pushed himself forward, driven by the allure of untold wealth. And finally, just when he thought he could go no further, he stumbled upon a moss-covered stone structure hidden amidst the tangled foliage. As he approached the ruin, a chill ran down his spine. The carvings that adorned every inch of the stonework seemed to writhe and twist, as if they were alive, whispering sinister secrets to anyone who dared to listen. The air around him grew heavy with a foreboding energy, as if the temple itself was aware of his presence, waiting silently, patiently. With trembling hands, Jareth descended the worn stone stairs that led into the depths of the temple. The flickering light of his torch danced on the damp walls, casting eerie shadows that seemed to flicker and dance in the darkness. The passageways branched out in a bewildering labyrinth, leading him deeper into the heart of the unknown. Choosing a path at random, Jareth ventured forth, his heart pounding like no other. The air grew colder, and a sense of unease settled upon him like a suffocating shroud. The passageway finally opened into a vast chamber, where a towering statue of an elephant-headed god stood proudly in the center. Its eyes seemed to bore into Jareth's very soul, filled with ancient wisdom and a hint of malevolence. Lying at the feet of the statue was an ornate chest, adorned with intricate carvings and embellishments. Jareth's eyes widened and a gasp escaped his lips. He had found it, the treasure that would change his life forever. He approached the chest with cautious excitement, his hands trembling as he lifted the lid. A dazzling display of golden goblets, bejeweled daggers, and glittering necklaces greeted his eyes. The sheer opulence of the treasure left him breathless, his mind reeling with the possibilities that lay before him. Without hesitation, he began filling his backpack, his heart racing as the weight of his newfound wealth settled upon his shoulders. But just as he reveled in his triumph, a low, ominous rumble reverberated through the temple, shaking the very ground beneath his feet. Panic gripped his heart as he realized the true nature of the temple he had disturbed. He had awakened something ancient, something powerful, and now it hungered for his very soul. Frantically, Jareth abandoned his greed and raced back up the passageway, his every step echoing in the empty chamber. The rumble grew louder, morphing into an earth-shaking roar that seemed to tear through the very fabric of reality. The temple was alive, its wrath unleashed upon the intruder who dared to disturb its slumber. Jareth burst out of the temple, his breath ragged, his heart pounding in his ears. The jungle greeted him with its oppressive embrace, its twisted branches reaching out like gnarled fingers, eager to claim him. He didn't stop running, his legs carrying him as fast as they could, the weight of the treasure jingling heavily in his pack. A twisted smile broke across his sweat-soaked face, a mixture of triumph and terror. He had escaped, but he knew the jungle would not release its grip so easily. The temple's wrath would follow him, a relentless force that would stop at nothing to claim what was rightfully its own. Jareth ran, his footsteps blending with the sinister chorus of the jungle as he vowed to make it out alive, to escape with both his fortune and his life. Little did he know the jungle had its own plans, its own secrets waiting to be unveiled, and in the end the true horror of his journey would far surpass anything he had ever imagined. As Jareth sprinted through the dense undergrowth, his breaths came in ragged gasps, matching the rhythm of the pounding drums that seemed to echo through the jungle. His mind raced with fear, haunted by the malevolent presence he had awakened within the temple. The relentless pursuit of that ancient evil had transformed his quest for riches into a desperate fight for survival. Suddenly, a harsh voice broke through the cacophony of the jungle, sending a chill down his spine. "You thought you could steal from the temple and escape, didn't you?" The voice was not his own, nor was it any creature he had encountered before. It seemed to emanate from the very air around him, an omnipresent malevolence that clung to his senses. Jareth dared not look back, his heart threatening to burst from his chest as he continued his frantic flight. "Who are you?" he managed to stammer. A sinister chuckle filled the air, making the jungle itself seem to laugh at his predicament. "I am the guardian of this temple, the eternal watcher of its treasures. You, trespasser, have awoken me from my slumber, and for that you will pay a steep price." The ground beneath Jareth's feet seemed to shift and tremble as he ran, making his escape all the more treacherous. Vines snaked out to trip him, roots reached up to entangle his ankles, and unseen forces pushed and pulled at his body. It was as if the very jungle conspired with this malevolent entity to ensure his capture. Desperation drove Jareth forward, his footsteps echoing in the dim light filtering through the thick canopy overhead. He needed to find a way out, a way to escape the relentless grasp of the temple's guardian, but the jungle itself seemed to twist and contort, shifting its terrain to confound him. "Give back what you have taken, and perhaps I will spare your miserable existence," the voice taunted, its words laced with venom. Jareth's mind raced, searching for a way to appease this vengeful entity, to somehow relinquish the stolen treasure and escape with his life intact. But the weight of the riches in his backpack reminded him of the impossible choice he faced. As he stumbled upon a narrow clearing, his eyes fell upon a massive, ancient tree with gnarled roots that reached out like twisted limbs. It stood alone, surrounded by an aura of foreboding. Desperation fueled his decision, and he dropped the treasure-laden backpack at the tree's base, falling to his knees in surrender. "I've returned your treasure!" he cried out, his voice trembling. "Please spare me!" The jungle fell eerily silent, the drums fading into a distant murmur. The guardian's voice returned, now cold and calculating. "You have made a wise choice, trespasser. Leave this place and never return, or suffer a fate worse than death." Jareth wasted no time. He scrambled to his feet and fled, leaving behind the stolen riches and the malevolent presence of the temple's guardian. The jungle seemed to release its grip on him, the sinister forces that had tormented him retreating into the shadows. As he emerged from the oppressive depths of the jungle, Jareth looked back one last time at the temple's entrance, shrouded in an otherworldly aura. He knew he had narrowly escaped a horrifying fate, but the true nature of the Guardian and the temple's secrets remained a mystery, a nightmare waiting to be unraveled. Little did he know that the jungle's sinister secrets were far from over, and the Guardian's vengeance would take a form he could never have imagined. The horrors of his encounter would continue to haunt him, for the jungle held more than just treasure. It held a darkness that hungered for more than stolen riches.
Thank you for listening to today's story. If you liked this story and would like to hear more, and/or you would have liked the story to turn out differently, or maybe have an idea for a spin-off to this story or another one altogether, just let us know in the comments below. There will be more stories to come shortly. As always, thank you for visiting my channel. You are all very appreciated.